Hi, Jeffrey here, making another one of these videos inviting you to draw with me. The drawing I'm currently working on is of the building called Cologne Cathedral. This video shows me drawing it live for about 10 minutes. And I will be providing my thoughts and some of my thoughts about the process throughout this video. I've spent about over 400 hours on this drawing so far. And I would say I've completed probably about 40% of it. Now, what you're seeing in the upper right-hand corner of the screen is the reference image I use in which I base this drawing off of. And I have this image visible on my laptop, which is in front of me. Whenever I work on this drawing, I open up this reference image and zoom in to where I currently am. I zoom in so far that I can see individual pixels of the image. And you can see I'm currently zooming in as far as I can until I can see the pixels large enough to then draw them. I then orient myself, find where I am, and continue from the previous place I stopped. Once I find literally the exact pixel that I stopped previously, I pick up my pencils and start to draw. Like I said before, I draw each pixel that I see onto my drawing. Where the recording of my reference image in the upper right-hand corner stopped is where I will be focusing on now. So if you'd like to see where that is, you can rewind the video and pause it and take a look. And I apologize for the camera becoming blurry here and there. Perhaps it was trying to focus on my hand and was getting confused between my hand and the drawing. But anyways, each pixel has its own color. So when I draw each pixel, I use a different color pencil. And I switch between color pencils. I tried to find the color pencil that has the closest color to the color of the pixel that I see in the reference image. Sometimes a color in the reference image does not exactly match a color pencil that I have. In that case, I may need to mix some color pencils together on a single point in my drawing. The size of a pixel on the reference image roughly correlates to the size of a point I make using the tip of my color pencil that's relatively sharp. So I sharpen my pencils pretty frequently, and then I slowly draw pixel by pixel, either left to right or top to bottom. Now, one question that some people might have is, why exactly am I doing this? Well, there are a couple reasons. Throughout my drawings, I've always strived to add as much detail as possible. And for the longest time, I never really was able to quantify this. When I draw realistically or very detailed, I would use a reference image and have it displayed on my computer screen. And I would always try to look at the reference image and capture all the detail on my drawing. However, the amount of detail that I was able to depict would vary depending on the quality of the reference image I was using. Sometimes the images would be kind of blurry, but I would always try to find the highest quality image of the thing I wanted to draw. But I never could quite put my finger on exactly what that meant. So the more highly detailed drawings I made, well, I suppose the more detailed they became. And it reached a point where one day I questioned myself and asked, can I draw literally every detail in an image? And then this idea of trying to do this stuck with me. But I quickly noticed, I suppose, sort of a problem with trying to do this. The human eye, or at least my eyes, can't always follow exactly the details in an image. And this depends, I think, on the complexity of the image and the types of patterns that the image has. So an example I can say is I did a drawing of Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor, and you can look on my YouTube channel to find the time-lapse for that drawing, if you're interested. And something I noticed while trying to draw him is that depending on what part of the image I was drawing, my eyes could either follow it or could not follow it. I'll give an example. So my eyes could pretty accurately follow the skin tones on his face and his wrinkles. However, my eyes became lost when trying to follow the hairs on his beard and the fibers on the fabric of his cloak that he wears. And when I say my eyes become lost, I mean I can't quite accurately follow when I try to draw. Like, what I can draw is more approximate rather than exact. So I can see roughly the hairs, but not each individual hair. And I can't follow through drawing each individual hair exactly as it's seen on the reference image. So when that happens, I guess you could say I kind of fudged it, which might actually be okay to do because, I mean, perhaps nobody is looking to see that each hair is aligned exactly with a reference image in terms of directionality, shape, size, and color. What's important when drawing realistically is that the person looks like the person, and that can happen regardless of whether each piece of hair matches. But I'd be curious to know if there's someone who actually can follow with their eyes things such as beard, hair, and fur. Because as far as I've tried to do it, it's impossible. And I think that's because things such as hair all look basically the same, but they're also not exactly the same as each other. They're slightly different in very subtle ways, and because the differences are so minute, I think the human eye just can't distinguish between them enough when looking back and forth and trying to draw. So I believe when it comes to drawing all the detail based on a reference image, a digital reference image, drawing certain types of things is just not worth the effort, and especially because it would require, the amount of work it would require would be, like I said, I think impossible, and the end result is the person doesn't look much more like the person than if those elements were more approximate. So it would be like, first of all, I think it's impossible, like I said, but even if it were possible, it would be exponentially more work for a marginal difference, marginal amount of added realism. So anyway, back to Cologne Cathedral, I found a reference image of which I could try to draw from, and I zoomed in until I could see pixels, and I noticed that I could actually follow the pixels with my eyes. I mean, it wasn't easy to follow, but it was actually, it seemed to be possible, at least. So then I decided that I would try to draw it and try to follow every single pixel on the reference image. And so that's the drawing that I'm currently working on. Now, I would agree that following every pixel would not make the drawing look much different than if I didn't follow every single pixel and the drawing was more approximate, kind of comparing it to how when I tried to draw hair and couldn't follow each hair, then I drew the hairs more approximate rather than 100% accurate. But I'm curious what a drawing would look like if every single pixel were drawn. And so that's why I'm working on this drawing. Anyways, that's about all I have for now. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed drawing with me if you did. If you're interested in seeing more updates on this drawing, that are in shorter form, you're welcome to look on my YouTube channel under the Shorts section. There I post quick videos just showing progress since the previous video. I also hope this video provided some insight into my process. And if you like the content that I make, please remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.